I haven't baked brownies from scratch for years, and to be honest, I've kind of been afraid to. The thing is, box mixes have made it so easy to have a high quality brownie, or at least the appearance of a high quality brownie. The problem is all the chemicals in there, and to be honest, I can kind of taste them. I've been working on my baking science a lot this past year. I think I'm finally ready to take on the brownie, and I want to see if I can make something that's close to, if not better than, what you can get out of a box. And of course, this one's going to be gluten-free. Let's fix it. Before I even start with the brownie batter, I'm already thinking about the end game. How do you safely remove brownies from a pan without destroying them? Well, I'm using a parchment paper sling, I guess you will. Put the parchment paper underneath and you have a handle on each side. So the plan's going to be, when the brownies are cool, just kind of lift them up like that. I mean, it seems like a good idea. Will it work? We'll find out later. One of the keys to this recipe is brown butter. Let's head to the stove. I made some chocolate chip cookies with brown butter a few weeks ago and they came out really nice, so I'm thinking the same strategy should work for brownies. When making brown butter, you want the heat to be relatively low. It would be terrible if you burned the butter before it even melted all the way. After the butter melts, we hit the clarifying stage, where the solids sink to the bottom and the water evaporates. Now that the water's about gone, it should start browning pretty soon. Just have to keep stirring it and make sure it doesn't burn. And it's already changing color a little bit. Okay, we're going to call that good. So I'm going to turn the heat off. And then right away, I'm going to add our cocoa powder. After the cocoa blooms in the brown butter, I'm going to add my secret ingredient. The espresso replaces the water we just boiled off with the butter, but it also brings flavor with it, so it's a huge upgrade. I actually lucked out here because adding a water-based liquid to the butter and cocoa mixture could have caused it to seize, but it didn't. There's a safer time to add the espresso. I'll mention that when the time comes. And we'll add in our chocolate chips. We'll just use the residual heat to melt those. Alright, now we'll set that aside and let it cool. Meanwhile, we'll get our dry ingredient mix going. The dry ingredient mix is super simple. We're just going to use half a cup of 1-to-1 gluten-free flour, a tablespoon of sweet cassava starch, or polvillo, and a 1/4 teaspoon salt. That sweet cassava starch, it should help improve the chew of the brownie. A little extra starch will create more structure, and also this should increase the moisture just a little bit. All those things are true. I just hope the extra starch doesn't make it rubbery. So we need 2 eggs plus 1 egg yolk. This one doesn't want to let go. There we go. Save you for breakfast tomorrow. Here's where we're going to start to build the structure. We have our 2 eggs plus 1 egg yolk, and then we're going to add some brown sugar and powdered sugar. The powdered sugar is going to create the glossy top. That shiny layer on the top of a brownie is basically a meringue. So what happens is the powdered sugar dissolves into the egg whites. and that syrup rises to the top when it bakes, and the end result is your shiny meringue coating. Granulated sugar doesn't dissolve very well because it has larger bits, so that's why we need to rely on the powdered sugar to get that glossy meringue layer. In goes our vanilla extract. I mentioned earlier that there's a safer time to add the espresso. That would be with the vanilla. It's time for that drizzle, the chocolate drizzle. For shizzle. Chef, I don't know. Sometimes you just try too hard. In baking, just as in life, you can't rely on that drizzle all the time. Sometimes you just have to put in your own effort. We want to make sure our egg mixture and our chocolate mixture are thoroughly combined. All right, let's see how we're doing here. All right, Chef, let's get some detailed analysis on that brownie batter. How's it coming so far? Well said. All right, let's add the flour mix. Just going to gently fold this in, try not to overmix it. I mean, with gluten-free batters, you don't need to be as worried about overmixing because you don't have gluten developing. But if you mix the starches too much, it could turn a little rubbery. It's really important with gluten-free baking. You want to let the flours and the starches hydrate before you bake. I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes and then we'll go in the oven. 10 minutes for me, 2 seconds for you. Into the oven we go. Coming out of the oven, check out that beautiful shiny cracked meringue top. Also, there's a little wound in it. I did check the internal temperature to make sure I had the right bake. I got about 182 degrees Fahrenheit, which is right where you want it. After cooling down to room temperature, we want our brownies to go in the fridge for a bit. The cool temperatures will set our starches and also the fats completely and make our brownies much easier to handle and to cut. I actually left these in the fridge overnight, but it's okay. They should have aged like a fine, I don't know, brownie? Well, let's give it a try. The parchment paper lift. Well, that didn't work very well. Don't worry, I have a plan. I need to free up the edges on the pan. I think that's what's holding it up. Do this side. All right, take two. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Pretty slick. All right. So I've been told cold brownies and a warm knife. So I've run my knife under hot water for about 20 seconds. On my first cut, I'm just doing straight downward pressure, slight rocking motion here. And when the knife comes up, it has a little bit of brownie residue on it. So I go right to the sink, rinse it off under hot water, and back with a nice clean knife. If you want your brownies to be cut immaculately, you need to rinse with hot water between every cut. There you can see that brownie residue again. Rinse off your knife under hot water, and we're back for another cut. All right, that looks great. Let's go ahead and plate them up. So how did I do? Is that as good as the box mix? Let me know in the comments. It's time for a taste test. I'm super excited. This brownie looks like it could be on the cover of a magazine. Oh my God, that's amazing. I'm trying to process my experience here, all the flavors and textures, and all I can come up with are two simple words. Holy shit. That's the best brownie I've ever had in my life, and it's not even close. It has a super light fudgy texture, but it also holds up a little bit thanks to the sweet cassava starch. The cocoa flavor is super strong, and it's not too sweet, it's very balanced. And that shiny top just adds a little bit of crunch that's just so satisfying to balance out the textures. This is a must-make recipe. Even if you're not gluten-free, give this a try. You'll be happy you did. If you're interested in other dessert ideas, I have a perfect chocolate ice cream recipe, or if you want something lighter, try my Meyer lemon tarts. Thanks for watching.
You think you deserve the brownie?
All right, well, you'll have to prove it. I mean, this is a very, very good brownie, and I'm going to fight for it.